Today I'm going to paint a boat in a harbor.
Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch, a watercolor artist, teacher and a book author. Welcome to my studio.
I use picture from harbor in my city in Bergen. Let's first find the horizon line. It's about in the middle of the page. Here we have the pier and we have bigger boat next to the pier. We are not going to paint too much into details. Prepare a little bit of sketch. That will make it easier. And then we have two boats. Basically what we can see, some triangles. Well, what's important is a mast. 1, 2. We have a very busy area on the background. It's a part of the city, other boats, but we are not going to paint them. Just some idea of mountains on the background, and same right here. Now let's start to paint. I'm glazing the full area. I will paint the sky. I will mix phthalo blue and ultramarine blue, and I will paint the sky. Can be a little bit more on the blue side, like this. The sky is brighter on the top, which is closer to Earth, and it gets more and more lighter the more it moves to the horizon line. Therefore, I wash my brush and I add more water into this mix. And I almost approached the horizon line, but I will let my watercolor flows as it warrants. And now I will paint the sea part. The sea part is slightly darker than the sky, bit darker mix, and I will paint it. And here and there I step aside and I leave some white area in between. That will help me to recreate the waves. And the more I'm approaching the horizon line, the smaller are my brush strokes. There's no need to go directly to the horizon line. We will add details when it dries. I can even paint slightly on this pier part under the boats. Let's add a bit of deeper brush strokes. I grab my paints right from the pen, create creamy mix. Have a look. I can add some waves in between like this. And then I wash my brush. I lift a little bit the paper and I add water under the boat and under these two boats too. And I will help water flow down. I dry my brush with a paper towel, and again I will slide my brush from top, from boat part to the bottom to create the reflections underneath the boats. We need to dry everything completely. Let's add mountains. Probably want to start to paint boats, but be patient. For the mountains, I add to my blue mix. I will add a little bit of quinacridone pink to make them slightly more on the purple side. Just with a couple of brush strokes, I will create an idea of mountains on the background. Very, very simple. No no details. It's anyway, it's the air perspective rules working. We can't, they're far away from us, we can't really see much. The pier is grayish brown. I will add burnt sienna into my mix. I will paint the pier also without big attention to details. And now comes this dark part of the pier and the reflection. So about right here will be the pier, and here is the area of the reflection. And this is the darkest part of our painting. Therefore, I need to create very dark mix. I will use phthalo blue and ultramarine blue, same mix we use here. I will add creamy mix of burnt sienna, and I will paint, especially I pay attention painting around the board. So I paint carefully with the tip of the brush around the board, keeping an eye on the nice shape of the board right here. Here we have some yellow staircase. I can maybe try to paint around. Something like this would be good. And again, try to get rid of any unnecessary details. Don't overthink it. Just bring everything. We can hardly see the border between the pier and the reflection, so I will just paint it like this. Add horizontal lines with the tip of my brush to the reflection part. Now let's take smaller brush. I want to add dry area on the background. I remove water from my brush and try not to touch the board. I will add this texture to the background. Let's have a look. It almost gets to the middle of the boats, about this. Now finally boat. Sun shines from the left, therefore the left part of the boat is lighter. And let's paint the grayish part of the opposite side of the boat. I use my mix of everything with everything. I will paint the shadow part of the boat on one boat, the other boat, and the other boat. And all the boats, they have blue bottom line. So with the tip of the brush, right into the wet paper, I will add this blue detail, small one for the faraway boats. Now I can also add these windows for the boat. One, another one, and with my grayish neutral mix I can add some details to this boat, shadows. And now comes the reflection part. I will use my blue mix. I will paint underneath the boat, just underneath the boat, same element. I use my another brush, I wash it, and I will touching this stripe, I will paint the reflection. So to say, I create a path for my watercolor to sink down, to go down. This is one reflection, and immediately I can add some horizontal lines and also therefore this is how I will connect the reflection from the pier, the reflection from the boat, also some blue horizontal lines. Don't overthink it, don't overdo it. About this, remember this part is darker, so in the reflection this part should be also darker. While my paper is still wet, I can add a bit of darker tone into this area and add some delicate waves, brush strokes on that side. Now 2 more boats, blue stroke underneath. Let's do one in one go. Clean damp brush, distribute it down like this. It's even easier if you help it to spread down and add just a hint of darker color into the reflection on the shadow part. In the shadow part, about this, and this. And don't forget to add some waves, horizontal lines. And let's add the reflection for the masts. In the picture it is white, but we will just add it. We will make it darker, more grayish, this grayish mix. I move my brush, wiggling, that will imitate this water distribution. Although the masts on the picture are white, I don't feel like using gouache today. I will just paint them in dark color, something with my brush, with long tail brush. I will paint one mast and the other one. I can have a look. Usually there are some tiny details like these lines and some stripes around. I'm sorry, I don't know exact names, but with very fine tip of your brush you can add these small little details to the masts. Let's work a little bit on this boat. First of all, here round bulb, which you use not to damage the boat when it's on the pier. So I will paint shadow underneath it. There is also some reflection from the pier, therefore this part of the boat is a little bit darker. A bit right here. I need to learn the names of these details on the boat. This is small little fence. So now I just looking at the reference, add details, add shadows, a bit more of the blue. Basically, I'm just looking at the reference and see what can be interesting and easy to add, and working on that. Some details. And as one last layer, I would like to emphasize this shadow underneath the shadow part of the boat. So I just go once again and always add some horizontal waves in addition to what I see. Some blue. Now let's divide slightly city part from the boat. I want to make it darker. Again, no details, just a bit of darker tone. To the ladder I can just use the same brownish mix, paint it inside. It would not be that bright yellow as on the reference, but I think this is complete. Dry brush. All details I'm adding just with the help of dry brush. I want to add the lead into the reflection. I use the tip of my brush, and then I take a paper towel, press and remove. This is how I created very easy the reflection of the ladder. Let's traditionally remove the tape. Here is our very quick sketchy boat scene, which you can paint right in the harbor very quickly. So I hope you liked this class today.
Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed the process. I'm looking forward to know what would you like to paint next. And see you soon. Bye bye.